When I got to Mississippi in 2013, we were literally bouncing between 49th and 50th in the nation where literacy was concerned. I had done a lot of research, and I knew that the science of reading and all that it entails. There's 5 components to that. It's not just phonics. There's a lot of other things that go along with it. We really took it as a pre-K through grade 3 strategy and used the money to provide professional learning to all teachers K through 3, general ed and special ed, in the science of reading. In other words, how do you teach reading using the science of reading? And so we did that year in and year out. We made sure that all of our administrators were trained. We made sure all of our teachers were trained. But more importantly, too, we also hired a significant number of literacy coaches and put those coaches in our schools that were struggling the most. And then we started following the data, quite honestly, to see, those coaches that were the performance of the schools that had coaches versus those that did not. And the ones that had coaches were outperforming the schools that did not have coaches on a year after year basis. So we kept trying to expand our coaching model to other schools. We also leaned in very heavily with high quality instructional materials, making sure that teachers knew how to identify high quality instructional materials. And then we also had a very strong accountability system that really recognized not only proficiency, but growth of all children, but more importantly, growth of the bottom 25%, because we knew that's where a lot of our children were at the bottom. As our scores started to rise, the legislature the whole state was just thrilled to see such a change, and we celebrated the daylights out of it. It wasn't a matter of hand-picking. It was like using our data to place these literacy coaches that we had hired. We hired them, and also we trained them every single month. So they would be deployed out in schools. That's all they did was what the coaching model required. They did not have lunch duty, recess duty, bus duty, nothing. They were there to work with teachers. That was their job. They could also work with the principal in designing a strong literacy program for their school. But they were there to watch teachers, observe, model lessons, videotape teachers, and then sit down and watch the lesson with them together. And they're non-evaluative, so they have nothing to do with the teacher's evaluation. They were really there to be nothing but a help. You've got to have a strategic plan. You've got to have, what is your plan to change? If you want outcomes to change, what specifically are you going to do to get them to change? And hope is not a plan. I think that's the role of the state agency. The state agency should be leaning in. We did in Mississippi. We are here in Maryland to helping the districts with whatever it is that they need.